Welcome back. So this is the next video on Nereis, and here we'll be looking into the body wall and musculature in detail. The body wall of Nereis consists of four layers. From outside, if we see, it is the cuticle on the outermost layer. It is the outermost layer. Then we have the epidermis, right? This is the epidermis, and then a very broad muscle layer followed by the innermost layer being the peritoneum. Okay, so these are the four layers which make up the body wall of Nereis. Okay, starting from the cuticle, if you see, cuticle is the outermost thin, tough chitinous layer with a system of intersecting striations, and that causes iridescence to it. If you remember correctly, the picture of the Nereis, you can see light bluish or purplish color here, and the orange color, the what you call the parapodial city, etc. So the center part, it is slightly iridescent, isn't it? Slightly glistening or brightly colored, and that is because of the presence of the striations in the cuticle, and that impart the iridescence to it. And this cuticle, it is secreted by the epidermis, which lies just below the cuticle. Okay, that is the cuticle. It is secreted by the underlying epidermis, and you can see certain areas where the cuticle is open, isn't it? And these minute openings are of these glandular cells. So the glandular cells present, the epidermal glandular cells, they open out on the cuticle at various points. Okay, and these glandular cells are actually meant for secreting mucus. So these are mucus secreting cells. So what happens to the mucus? These are the mucus which is used for lining up the inner walls of the burrows where the Nereis lives. I hope you remember in one of the previous videos we saw that the Nereis, it lives in burrows, and the wall of the burrows, it is lined with the mucus, and the mucus actually helps in sticking the very smaller particles of the soil, right? And the mucus, it is secreted by the glandular cells, the epidermal glandular cells, and these gland cells open out and at various points on the cuticle. So that is about the cuticle. Now, coming to the epidermis, that is the next inner layer. As already mentioned, it lies just below the cuticle, and epidermis is responsible for the secretion of cuticle. And these epidermis, it rests on a very thin layer of basement membrane, and it consists of a single layer. You can see it is formed of a single layer of tall columnar cells, and then glandular cells at various points being scattered in the epidermal layer. Epidermis on the ventral surface is slightly more thicker than that on the dorsal side, especially near the bases and on the parapodial lobes. Okay, and also it is more glandular on the ventral side. The epidermal gland cells, as already mentioned, it secretes the mucus. So that is about the epidermis. Epidermis is formed of long, a single layer of long columnar cells and glandular cells in between. These cells are responsible for the secretion of the cuticle, and we also saw that the epidermis, it is more thicker on the ventral side, and as well as the epidermis which lines parapodial lobes, there also it is thicker. Okay, coming to the muscles. Nereis do have a very well developed musculature, and it consists of three kinds of muscles. That is, one is circular muscles, which line up just below the epidermis, which is found just below the epidermis. And then we have the longitudinal muscles. Another set of muscles, it is the oblique muscles. So circular muscles, longitudinal muscles, and oblique muscles, these form the musculature of Nereis. Okay, and all these are composed of unstriated muscle fibers. They are unstriated. Okay, now circular muscles, if you see, these form, you can see here. Okay, this is the epidermis, the outermost layer. It is epidermis. Just below that, all throughout the segment, you can see the circular muscles continuously form a layer just below the epidermis. So circular muscles form a continuous layer beneath the epidermis, and in the parapodia, the circular muscles are modified to form the parapodial muscles. I hope when we discussed the structure of parapodia, we saw that the parapodia, it can contract and it can be retracted, and that is done with the help of the parapodial muscle. So there parapodial muscles, it is actually modified circular muscles. Okay, now to the next set of muscles, that is the longitudinal muscle cells. Longitudinal muscle cells, unlike circular muscles, they do not form a continuous layer, but the circular muscles, they occur in four bundles. Okay, you can see here the four bundles. Okay, uh, four what you call longitudinal bundles, and these are dorsolateral, one on either side of this is a dorsal blood vessel, and these are the what you call the longitudinal muscle bundle. Okay, two dorsolateral muscles, and here you can see the ventrolateral. Okay, this is one set and this is another ventrolateral longitudinal muscle. Okay, and this is present on either side of the ventral nerve cord. So these four bundles form the longitudinal. So as already mentioned, it doesn't form a continuous layer below the circular muscles. The third set of muscle is the oblique muscle, and as you can see, the oblique muscle, this is the oblique muscle. Okay, oblique muscle fibers. Okay, this is the set. So what happens is oblique muscles, they lie in each segment in two pairs. Okay, these each oblique muscle, this is one set and then this is the second one. Each oblique muscle, it arises between the this ventral nerve cord and ventrolateral longitudinal muscle, and then what happens is it emerges from here, or it starts from here, and from the then it soon bifurcates into two, it divides into two, and this branch is the dorsal branch of the oblique muscle, and this is the ventral branch, and these two branches extends to the base of the parapodia. Okay, it extends to the base of the corresponding parapodia. And so so we saw three sets of muscles. That is a circular muscle continuously forming a layer below the epidermis. Then we have the longitudinal muscles, which form four bundles, two dorsolateral and two ventrolateral. And then we have the oblique muscles, two sets. Each of the what you call oblique muscle, they emerge between from the ventral side between what you call the ventral nerve cord, and then the ventrolateral longitudinal muscle, and then they bifurcate, divides into two. Each of the branch reaches the base of the parapodia. So this is how it happens. These are the musculature which we are speaking about in the case of Nereis. So what are the functions performed? The circular muscles, on contraction, they make the body longer and thinner. Okay, the circular muscles. On the other hand, the contraction of longitudinal muscles causes shortening and thickening of the body. So the circular muscles on contraction, it makes the body longer and thinner, while contraction of longitudinal muscles makes it shorter and thickened, which is the opposite, isn't it? The oblique muscles, they are responsible for the bending movements of parapodia and their complete retraction. Okay, so this is about the muscles. Apart from that, we also saw that in the circular muscles, they form parapodial muscles at the base of the parapodia, isn't it? And those muscles are responsible for the protrusion and retraction of parapodial acicula and parapodial lobes, as already mentioned. So this is all about the musculature. The last layer of the body wall, it is the peritoneum, and peritoneum, actually it is a thin, delicate layer of coelomic epithelium, that is the peritoneum, and peritoneum secretes the coelomic fluid, and it forms the last and the innermost layer of the body wall. So this is about the body wall, and this shows the transverse section of a segment showing both the parapodial lobes, and we can see in the center there is the alimentary canal, the gut lumen here, the wall, and on the dorsal side of the wall you have the dorsal blood vessel, and on the ventral side the ventral blood vessel. Just below that we have the ventral nerve cord, and then on either side, lateral sides, you can see on the dorsal side the dorsolateral, and on the ventral side we have the ventrolateral musculature. Okay, so and another thing which we can see over here, it is the nephridium, opening of the nephridium. In the trunk segments, in many of the segments, you can see that just very close to the this one, the what you call the neuropodium of the parapodia, you can see the nephrodiopores opening. So nephrodiopores are minute excrete. You can see here this one. Okay, this is the nephridiopore and this is the nephridium. Okay, nephridium is associated with the excretion, right? So then there are the nephridiopores are minute excretory pores through which the nephridia communicate with the external environment, and each parapodium of a nephridia bearing segment. So it is not present in all the trunk segments. It may be present. It may be present only in certain segments. And in the what you call nephridium bearing segment, each parapodia bears a nephridiopore near the base of its ventral cirrus. So this is the ventral cirrus. Okay, and this is the dorsal cirrus. I hope you remember when we discussed about the structure of parapodia. Okay, so nephridiopore opens here. So this is about the parts you can see in the TS of a segment. Fine. So thank you.